What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here for the dreaded afternoon upload. Just kidding. This one's, well, I mean, it is an afternoon upload, but this one might not necessarily be too terrible of news. I really don't know how I feel about this yet. That's where I am at with this. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, eBay has rolled out an authentication process for trading cards, sports cards, etc. Before we dive in, like, comment, subscribe. I really don't know how I feel about this. Part of me wants to love this and embrace it and think it's amazing, but I'm a little skeptical. So let's run through what this is really quickly, and then we'll kind of have a little chit chat about it. So this launched, it sounds like basically today, beginning now. So any card over $750 raw sold in the US now gets shipped to an authenticator before it gets shipped to you. And who's authenticating? CSG/CGC/CCG. CCG is the parent company here, but CGC is their comic book division. CSG is their sports card division, and CGC also grades their trading cards for them. So they will be tasked with authenticating these cards and making sure that they are legitimate. So I go on eBay, I buy a $1,000, I don't know, Luca Silver raw. I don't even think that's what they sell for, but I buy it from you, you ship it. It does not come to me. It goes to CCG to be authenticated. They authenticate it, package it up, seal it in a fancy little thingamajigger here, and then they send it off to me. So they have a little card saver, a little envelope, looks like a little Hallmark card, and then it comes off to me. This will expand. By mid-2022, this will include graded, autograph, and patch cards sold for $250 or more. So that's a lot. That covers a lot of territory. $250 and up for a raw, slab, or auto is a lot of cards. There are a lot of cards that transact above $250. Now, nobody is charged for this. There's no fees involved. And the shipping, I guess, is all built in. So that's essentially the gist of this whole situation. You buy a card, it goes to CCG. They're not grading it. They are not grading it. It's not going to be encased in a CSG slab. It's just going to be authenticated by them, put in a card saver, it looks like, and then shipped to you. One thing I did find amusing in this article, there is a sentence down here that says, eBay is continuously listening to its growing community of collectors to ensure the marketplace is delivering what enthusiasts need. That's great, eBay. I truly hope that you are. Can you please allow us to leave buyer feedback? Why can I not leave negative buyer feedback for these non-payers and all the other nonsense that goes on? Please let us do that. All right, back on topic here. I found this funny because we've been begging for that forever, but we still don't have that available to us. Let's click over here because they do give us a little FAQ here, and I will link to this in the description down below if you want to check this out on your own. So let's go with the positives first. This sounds grand. This sounds fantastic. Cool. I buy a card, it gets checked out. Now I don't buy a lot of raw cards, so I don't know how much this will affect me. They're going to check slabs eventually because of the, there's a lot of slabs that are going around. I did notice in the fine print down here, it does talk about if it does not meet the item as described. So I don't know if they would kick it back if it's not in the condition that it was listed at, if that makes sense. So right here in this little part, carefully inspect the item for authenticity and accuracy against the item listing. Upon confirmation of the item by the third-party authenticator, it is properly packaged, securely shipped to the buyer. If the item's authenticity cannot be verified or the item is significantly not as described. So that's interesting. So not only are they going to authenticate it, They are also potentially, but the way that that reads to me is they'll kick it back if there's something significantly wrong with it. So say the card's listed as near mint to mint and they get it and there's a big crease in the back. I don't know if that's what's actually going to happen, but that's how I read that. You tell me in the comments down below if you disagree with that statement. So that, once again, this all sounds fantastic. Now, you may ask, how long does this take? They say 1 to 2 business days. So right here in the how long does it take? 1 to 2 business days of receipt. So once again, we kind of ran through this before. You buy a card off me, I ship it to this third party, wherever it's going to go to, then they are going to take it and ship it to you. Now, once again, this all sounds fantastic. However, what happens if they get backed up? 1 to 2 days seems awfully optimistic. I am sure they have the data. I don't, obviously, but I am sure they have the data of the number of cards that sell per day at $250 and above. And I understand it's not starting that way, but let's spin this forward. They say mid 2022. That's not that far from now. It's like 6 months. That to me is the biggest concern I have with this whole thing. Can they meet the turnaround time of 1 to 2 days? Because if I buy a card and it ships off to go get authenticated and then it sits there for days, weeks, and then it gets shipped to me, that's going to be a problem. People are going to riot in the streets. And once again, I don't know the data. eBay obviously probably has a billion reports that they spit out and handed to CGC or CCG to say, hey, this is your expected traffic. They know exactly. I'm sure they can look and they know exactly how many cards they sell on a given day, a given week, and how many things are going to be coming into them. That's the part that scares me about this whole entire thing. And by the way, this is not optional. I choose not to have my item authenticated? Not at this time. So you do not have a choice in this matter. How this works on the back end, I don't know. I assume when something sells and it's paid for, it's going to give you that shipping address for the item to go to, and then they take care of it all in between. I always get nervous when extra steps get added into the middle. What they are proposing is really a good service. I like it. It's interesting. The trick is can they hit the 1 to 2 day turnaround time? Anything longer than that, it's really going to start to cause problems. You know, what if people are canceling orders before it even gets through to there? Also, like, how strict or lenient are they going to be on the item not as described? Ideally, if this cuts way down on eBay returns, to me, I think eBay would take a much harder stance on eBay returns if this is the case. Plus, and I didn't read it may say in here, and it's probably them, but the interesting part to me is going to be if I ship them a card and they say it's fine, and then they ship it on to a buyer, and the buyer says item not as described, this has been damaged, who's then on the hook? Is that going to come back to me as the seller? If it's truly damaged, I assume they're going to eat the cost for it. But is eBay going to crack down on people marking things not as described because it's gone through this third-party authentication? And once again, this whole thing to me comes down to, can they manage that 1 to 2 day turnaround time? If it becomes 1 to 2 weeks, that's going to be a significant problem. From the CCG side, from a business perspective, this is great for them. I don't know what eBay's paying them to do this, but they are obviously making some money on this deal. So an interesting angle here on the CSG side, which I guess we should talk about this. Let's get into speculative theater here, is the big advantage that I could potentially see for them, and we don't know if they're going to do this yet. This is 100% speculation. Is there a chance that at some point in time, probably not initially, maybe a year from now, maybe 8 months from now, who knows? But at some point in time, if you purchase a raw card and it's already getting shipped to them for authentication, is there an option to just have them go ahead and grade it as well? Now that is semi-interesting. If the card's already going there anyways, the key would be, what is the charge and what is the turnaround time? And do people still want to use CSG slab or still want CSG slabs in their hand? I think a lot of that's going to come down to if they do a label redesign. That's the interesting take / inroads here from a CSG perspective is, hey, wink, wink, we start out authenticating, but at some point in time, we will allow you to grade it while it's here as well. That would be an option for you. Now, the tricky part there is how does that work with returns? If a seller offers a return policy on a card, but it's sitting at CSG waiting to be graded for 6 months, 3 months, a month, whatever, how does that affect things? And then if the card comes back, say it's listed as near mint, the authenticator says, yeah, this looks necessarily mint. And then it comes back a CSG 8.5. Is that going to open you up for return? That's, I see like big brain on a whiteboard, how that would work. You send the card in, it's already there. I'd like to pay an extra $25. Can you guys just grade it while it's there? Cool. But then what happens? There's a lot of weird mechanics that would need to get worked out there. There is an interesting angle there for them to make inroads. You could kind of see that on a roadmap potentially happening at some point in time. And then they obviously have ties to Fanatics. So what does that mean? There's a whole bunch of shenanigans you could go in. That's probably better to discuss on a different video. But it's an interesting angle here, so I thought it was at least worth discussing. What do you guys and girls think about that? Would you, if you had the ability to grade with CSG during checkout at eBay, would you take advantage of that? Or do you just want the card in hand and you're going to send it off to PSA, SGC, whatever? I guess it would depend on the card. But curious for your thoughts on that in the comments down below as well. So what do we think about this whole entire situation, eBay third-party authentication? It's a very interesting concept. I see what they want to do. On paper, it sounds really good. The trick is can they actually execute it? That to me is the biggest thing, and we're really not going to know. We're going to find out real fast, though. So we'll see what happens. I am curious. Thoughts and opinions down below. Are you in favor of this? Do you like this? Do you not like this? Where are we at? I truly hope they can knock this out of the park because it would build a lot of consumer confidence. I'm just always skeptical of stuff like this. What we have seen, that these companies overestimate what they can handle, and then all of a sudden, there's a massive backlog. I would love to be proven wrong on this. Please prove me wrong. Please. I am dying to make a video in 8 months from now, 9 months from now, next Christmas, saying, man, was I wrong about that? They knocked this out of the park. I hope that is the case. I genuinely do. So, curious for your thoughts and opinions on this in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. We will catch you guys and girls on the next one. Be kind to one another. Peace.